Maya was invisible. At least, that's what it felt like most days. She walked through the shiny marble halls of the Chun Tower with her cleaning cart, and people looked right through her. Businessmen in expensive suits rushed past without a glance. Women in clicking high heels talked on their phones, as if Maya was just another piece of furniture. Even the security guards barely nodded when she arrived each evening at 6 o'clock. But Maya didn't mind being invisible. Being invisible meant people said things around her. Important things. Secret things. Things they would never say if they remembered she was there. The city outside the tower's windows sparkled like a jewelry box. Neon signs painted the night in pink, blue, and gold. Cars with polished paint that cost more than houses glided down the streets below. This was a city where money talked louder than people, where power lived in tall buildings made of glass and steel. And the tallest building of them all belonged to Mr. Richard Chun. Maya had worked in Chun Tower for 2 years, ever since she turned 16. Every evening, she cleaned the offices on the 42nd floor, the executive level where the real decisions happened. She emptied trash cans full of crumpled papers covered in numbers. She wiped down conference tables where men decided the fate of thousands of workers. She polished windows that overlooked the entire city, windows that made Mr. Chun feel like a king surveying his kingdom. Mr. Chun was the kind of man people whispered about, rich beyond imagination, powerful enough to make or break careers with a single phone call, surrounded by guards who looked like they could break walls with their bare hands. He wore suits that probably cost more than Maya's family paid for rent in an entire year. But Maya had a secret weapon, something that made her special, even if nobody knew it. She understood Chinese. Her grandmother, who had passed away when Maya was 12, had taught her. Every summer, Maya had spent weeks at her grandmother's small apartment, learning to speak, read, and understand the language. Her grandmother used to say, "Words are bridges, Maya. The more languages you know, the more bridges you can cross." Maya never imagined those bridges would save someone's life. It was a Thursday night, and Maya was cleaning the conference room on the 42nd floor. The room still smelled like expensive cologne and coffee. She pushed her cart quietly across the thick carpet, emptying the trash cans, when she heard voices in the hallway. Mr. Chen's guards. There were 4 of them who worked the evening shift. Big men with serious faces and earpieces that crackled with static. They stood outside Mr. Chen's office every night, watching everyone who came and went. Maya had seen them 1,000 times, but tonight something felt different. Their voices were low, urgent, and they were speaking Chinese. Maya's hands froze on the trash can. Her heart started beating faster. She shouldn't listen. She should make noise, let them know she was there. But something in their tone made her stay silent, made her invisible again. "Everything is ready," the first guard said in Chinese. His voice was cold, like winter metal. "The device is under the driver's seat," said another. "When he sits down, we trigger it remotely." 3 minutes later, problem solved. Maya's blood turned to ice. "The black car?" asked the third voice. "Yes, the one he always uses for the evening meetings. He'll never suspect his own security." "What about witnesses?" "The explosion will look like an engine fire. Accidents happen to rich men all the time. We'll be long gone before anyone asks questions." Maya's hands started shaking. The trash bag slipped from her fingers and hit the floor with a soft thump. The voices stopped immediately. Maya's heart hammered so hard she thought it might break through her chest. She grabbed the trash bag quickly and made herself keep moving, keep cleaning, as if she hadn't heard anything at all, as if her whole world hadn't just tilted sideways. Through the glass wall of the conference room, she saw the guards look around, then continue walking down the hallway. They didn't see her. She was invisible again. But now Maya wished she actually was invisible. Now she wished she could disappear completely, because what she just heard was a death sentence. Not for her, for Mr. Chun. His own guard were going to kill him. Maya's legs felt weak. She sat down in one of the leather conference chairs, her mind racing faster than the cars on the street below. Should she tell someone? Who would believe her? She was just a cleaning girl. The guard were trained professionals, trusted by Mr. Chun himself. If she accused them and she was wrong, she'd lose her job. Her family needed this job. Her little brother's medical bills depended on her paycheck. But if she was right and she said nothing, a man would die tonight. Maya looked out the window at the glittering city. Somewhere down there, Mr. Chin was finishing his dinner, preparing to come back to the tower for his evening meeting. Somewhere down there, a black car was waiting with death hidden underneath its seat. She thought about her grandmother. Sometimes, Maya, she used to say, the right thing and the easy thing are not the same thing. That's when you find out who you really are. Maya stood up. Her legs still felt shaky, but her mind was clear now. She had to warn him, no matter what it cost her. But how? The guards wouldn't let her anywhere near Mr. Chun. If she told them she needed to speak to him, they'd just laugh. If she insisted, they'd call security and have her removed. If she told them what she heard, they might... Maya didn't want to think about what they might do. She looked at the clock on the wall. It was 8:30. Mr. Chen's evening meetings always started at 9 o'clock. That meant he'd arrive in the lobby in about 20 minutes. He'd walk through the golden doors, smile at the guards, and head straight for his black car, waiting at the private entrance. And then he'd die. Unless Maya found the courage to step out of the shadows. Unless the invisible girl made herself seen. Unless she used her voice. The one thing she kept quiet for so long. Maya pushed her cleaning cart toward the elevator, her heart pounding with fear and determination. She had 20 minutes to save a life. 20 minutes to stop being invisible. 20 minutes to become brave. The elevator ride down felt like falling through a dream. Maya watched the floor numbers drop. 42, 41, 40, each one bringing her closer to the moment that would change everything. Her reflection stared back at her from the polished elevator doors. She looked small, young, scared. Could she really do this? The elevator dinged at the lobby level, and the doors slid open. Maya stepped out into a world of marble and gold. The Chun Tower lobby was designed to make people feel small and impressed at the same time. Massive pillars reached up to a ceiling painted with clouds. A fountain in the center sparkled under crystal lights. Everything whispered the same message. Power lives here. Maya's sneakers squeaked on the polished floor as she pushed her cart toward the corner. She needed to see the private entrance, the one Mr. Chin used when he wanted to avoid the main doors and the crowds. That's where the black car would be waiting. Her hands gripped the cart handle so tightly her knuckles hurt. What if nobody believed her? What if they thought she was crazy or lying or trying to get attention? Maya had spent 2 years being invisible. Now she was about to make the loudest noise of her life. Through the glass walls, she could see the private entrance. And there it was, the black car, sleek and expensive. Its paint so perfect it looked like liquid night. The driver stood beside it, checking his phone. He had no idea he was standing next to a bomb. Maya's stomach twisted into knots. She looked at the clock on the lobby wall. 8:45. 15 minutes. Where was Mr. Chun? Then she heard voices. Important voices. The kind that make everyone in a room stand up straighter. Mr. Chin was coming through the main entrance, surrounded by people in business suits. They all talked at once, showing him papers, asking questions, fighting for his attention. He nodded and smiled, but Maya could see the tiredness around his eyes. He looked like a man ready to go home, ready to get in that car. The 4 guards from upstairs appeared from a side hallway. They moved smoothly, professionally, forming a protective circle around Mr. Chun. To everyone else, they looked like loyal protectors doing their job. But Maya knew the truth. She took a step forward, then stopped. Her courage felt as fragile as a soap bubble. What if she was wrong? What if she misunderstood their Chinese? What if this was all some terrible mistake? But then she remembered the coldness in their voices, the careful planning, the word device and explosion, and problem solved. No, she wasn't wrong. Maya abandoned her cleaning cart and walked toward Mr. Chun. Her legs felt like they belonged to someone else. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. The clicking of heels on marble, the murmur of business conversations, the sparkle of the fountain. One of the guards saw her coming. His eyes narrowed. "Hey, you can't." "Mr. Chun." Maya's voice came out louder than she expected. It echoed across the lobby. Everyone turned to look at her. The conversation stopped. Mr. Chin stopped. For the first time in 2 years, people really saw her. Maya felt 100 eyes on her skin. Her mouth went dry. For a second, she couldn't remember how to speak. "Mr. Chun," she said again, forcing the words out. "Please don't get in the car." Mr. Chin looked confused. One of his assistants stepped forward. "Young lady, you can't just—" "The black car," Maya said, pointing toward the private entrance. Her hand was shaking, but she didn't care anymore. "Don't get in it. Please." The head guard, the one whose voice had been coldest upstairs, moved toward her with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Miss, you need to return to your duties. Mr. Chun is very busy." "I heard you," Maya said. Her voice was steadier now. "Upstairs, on the 42nd floor. You were speaking in Chinese." The guard's smile froze. The other 3 guards exchanged quick glances. "I don't know what you think you heard." The guard started. "I heard everything," Maya interrupted. She looked directly at Mr. Chin now, ignoring everyone else. "They're going to kill you. There's a bomb in the car, under the driver's seat. They're going to trigger it remotely 3 minutes after you sit down." The lobby exploded with noise. "This is ridiculous. Security, someone remove this girl." But Mr. Chin held up his hand, and everyone went silent. He studied Maya's face with sharp, intelligent eyes that had built an empire by knowing when people were lying. "You speak Chinese?" he asked quietly. "My grandmother taught me," Maya said. "They didn't know I could understand them." The head guard laughed, but it sounded forced. "Sir, this is clearly a disturbed young woman. She's trying to—" "What exactly did you hear?" Mr. Chin asked Maya, cutting off the guard. Maya took a deep breath. Then, in perfect Chinese, she repeated the guard's conversation word for word. The device, the remote trigger, 3 minutes, problem solved, the plan to make it look like an accident. The color drained from the head guard's face. Mr. Chen's expression turned to stone. He turned to his personal assistant. "Call the police. Now." "Sir, you can't possibly believe—" The guard started. "Check the car." Mr. Chen's voice boomed across the lobby like thunder. 2 security guards who weren't part of the evening shift ran toward the black car. The driver, confused, stepped aside. One guard opened the door, while the other knelt down to look under the driver's seat. The lobby was so quiet Maya could hear her own heartbeat. Then the security guard stood up, his face pale. In his hand was a small black device with wires running into the car seat. "Oh my God!" someone whispered. The lobby erupted into chaos. People screamed and ran toward the exits. The 4 guards tried to run too, but other security personnel tackled them to the ground. One guard almost made it to the door before 3 men brought him down hard on the marble floor. Maya's legs finally gave out. She sat down right there on the floor, shaking all over. She'd done it. She'd actually done it. Mr. Chin walked over and knelt beside her. Up close, she could see his hands were shaking too. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Maya," she whispered. "Maya," he repeated. "You just saved my life." "I was so scared," Maya admitted. Tears started rolling down her cheeks. "I didn't know if anyone would believe me." "But you spoke up anyway," Mr. Chin said. "That's real courage, Maya. Not being unafraid. Being terrified and doing the right thing anyway." Police sirens wailed outside. Within minutes, the lobby filled with officers in uniform. They carefully removed the bomb from the car and led the 4 guards away in handcuffs. The head guard shot Maya one last look of pure hatred before disappearing through the doors. Maya watched them go, still sitting on the floor, still shaking. Mr. Chin stayed beside her the whole time. The police station smelled like old coffee and paper. Maya sat in a room with soft chairs while detectives asked her questions. She told them everything about her grandmother, about learning Chinese, about the conversation she'd overheard. They wrote down every word. Mr. Chin sat in the chair beside her, refusing to leave even though the detectives said he could go home. "She saved my life," he told them simply. "I'm not leaving her alone." Hours passed. Maya's mother arrived, her eyes wide with worry and confusion. When she heard what happened, She pulled Maya into the tightest hug of her life. "My brave girl," her mother whispered, crying. "My brave, brave girl." The detectives finally told them the full story. The 4 guards had been hired by Mr. Chen's business rival, a man who wanted Chen's company for himself. They'd been planning the murder for 3 months, waiting for the perfect moment. The bomb was real and powerful enough to destroy the entire car. If Maya hadn't spoken up, Mr. Chen would have died at exactly 9:03 that night. 3 minutes, the detective said, shaking his head. She saved him with minutes to spare. When they finally left the police station, the sun was starting to rise. The city looked different in the morning light, softer, somehow. Less like a jungle made of glass and steel, more like a place where ordinary people could do extraordinary things. Mr. Chen's driver took them home in a different car. This one checked 3 times for any danger. Before Maya got out, Mr. Chen touched her shoulder. "This isn't over," he said. "I owe you more than I can ever repay. I want you to come see me next week. We need to talk about your future." Maya was too tired to understand what he meant. She just nodded and went inside, where her little brother was already awake and excited to hear about her adventure. The next week changed everything. Mr. Chen kept his promise. When Maya arrived at Qin Tower, walking to the front entrance this time, not the employee door, she was treated like royalty. People she'd cleaned up after for 2 years suddenly knew her name. They smiled at her. They thanked her. It felt strange and wonderful at the same time. Mr. Chen's new office was on the 45th floor, 3 levels higher than before. He'd moved everything after that night, trusting nothing from his old space. "Maya," he said when she entered, "I've been thinking about what you did. You have a gift, not just for languages, but for noticing things other people miss, for being brave when it matters most." He pushed a folder across his desk toward her. "I'm offering you a full scholarship to any university you want. You can study languages, business, anything that interests you. When you graduate, there's a job waiting for you in my company, not as a cleaner, but as a translator and security consultant." Maya stared at the folder. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a letter from one of the best universities in the country, already accepting her. Beneath it was a check that made her gasp. Enough money to cover her brother's medical bills and support her family for years. "I can't," Maya started, but her voice caught. "Yes, you can," Mr. Chen said firmly. "You gave me back my life, Maya. Let me give you the chance to build the life you deserve." Tears streamed down Maya's face, but this time they were happy tears, grateful tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "No," Mr. Chen said, standing up and bowing slightly, a gesture of deep respect in Chinese culture. "Thank you." The story spread across the city like wildfire. News reporters wanted to interview Maya. Social media exploded with posts about the brave girl who spoke up. Maya's phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages from people she'd never met, telling her she was a hero. But Maya didn't feel like a hero. She felt like someone who'd simply done what her grandmother had taught her. Use your gift to help others. Speak up when it matters. Build bridges instead of walls. 3 months later, Maya started university. She studied international relations and languages, adding Japanese and Spanish to her Chinese and English. She made friends from all over the world. She joined clubs and gave speeches about the importance of learning languages and trusting your instincts. But she never forgot where she came from. Every week, Maya visited Qin Tower. Sometimes she helped Mr. Chen with translations. Sometimes she just had tea with him and talked about life. He'd become more than a boss or even a friend. He was like the uncle she'd never had. Mr. Chen had changed too. He no longer trusted people just because they looked loyal or said the right things. He listened more carefully. He paid attention to the people others overlooked, the cleaners, the drivers, the assistants. He built new security teams slowly and carefully, checking every person's background 3 times. "You taught me something important," he told Maya one afternoon. "Power means nothing if you can't recognize the truth when you hear it. Wealth means nothing if you don't value the voices that can save you." The 4 guard went to prison for attempted murder. The business rival who hired them lost everything: his company, his reputation, his freedom. Justice, Maya learned, sometimes worked the way it should. A year after that terrible Thursday night, Maya stood on a stage at Chun Tower. Mr. Chun had created a new program, scholarships for young people from difficult backgrounds, people who had gifts the world hadn't noticed yet. Maya was there to announce the first 10 recipients. She looked out at the audience. Some of the faces were familiar, people who used to walk past her without seeing her. Now they looked at her with respect and admiration. "I used to be invisible," Maya began, her voice clear and strong. "I walked these halls for 2 years, and most people never knew my name. But being invisible taught me something valuable: how to listen, how to notice, how to understand what others miss." She paused, remembering that Thursday night. The fear, the choice, the moment her life changed forever. "One decision can change everything," Maya continued. "One word spoken at the right time can save a life. One person brave enough to step forward can stop a tragedy." She looked at Mr. Chun, sitting in the front row, smiling proudly. Never think your voice doesn't matter. Never believe you're too small, or too young, or too unimportant to make a difference. The world needs people who pay attention, who understand what others can't, who speak up even when they're terrified. The audience erupted in applause. That night, Maya stood at the window of her dorm room, looking out at the glittering city. Chun Tower rose above all the other buildings, its lights shining like a beacon. She thought about her grandmother, wishing she could tell her everything that had happened. But somehow, Maya felt like her grandmother already knew. The city continued to sparkle and grow, filled with millions of people chasing dreams and building empires. But now it had a new legend, a story people told each other about courage coming from a most unexpected place, about a quiet girl who understood the language of truth and spoke it when it mattered most. Maya smiled at her reflection in the window. She wasn't invisible anymore. But more importantly, she'd learned something that changed her forever. Real power doesn't come from money or position or force. Real power comes from having the courage to use your voice for good, from listening when others don't, from being brave when it's easier to be silent, from choosing to build bridges, just like her grandmother taught her. And that kind of power, that could change the world. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that every voice matters, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more inspiring stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Your voice matters too. Never forget that.